Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jimmy the Kid, aka the Yu-Gi-Oh, and today I'm going to be doing a For Hire deck profile, probably one of my favorite decks to play right now. Sky Strikers is fun too, but I just think, the For Hire is just, if you get it going, it is just such a fun deck to play. And with the new Link Monster coming out, I don't know. I'm super stoked about that because I figured they needed a little support, and Konami seems like they're going to give it to us. So the first one we got is three of Beat Bladesman for Hire. He's essential. He actually took me the longest to get. I cannot tell you how many packs of Dark Saviors I opened, and I never pulled a single one. Not a single one. Or the spell, the Mayhem for Hire. I never pulled a single one of those. I was actually able to complete a full Sky Striker pure build from all the packs that I opened, but never a Beat and never a Mayhem. And it's funny because, I didn't really want to get this. I didn't care about Sky Strikers. I just wanted the For Hires, and I couldn't pull a Beat and I couldn't pull a Mayhem. So I ended up having to buy the core, but actually one of these I traded for a Droll, I think, and back when it was a little cheaper. And then the other two Beats I got just with cash from somebody at my locals. But yeah, so anyways, besides all that, this card is the all-star of the deck. I tried playing without it, and it just doesn't work. I actually tried substituting in Fandora the field spell for in place of Beat because it allows you to search, but you have to give up your draw phase, and it's just, Beat's a plus. And if you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, you know that plussing and out-resourcing your opponent is how you win this game. So you have to run Beat, and he lets you search out any For Hire you need, so to speak. So it's just absolutely incredible card. We got three of those bad boys right there. Okay. Next, we got Raphael, Champion For Hire. I also run three of him. He's the boss monster of the deck. Really good effects. One thing I will say, any of the For Hires that are more than 4 stars, they don't have the special summon effect where you're allowed to special out another For Hire, and then the previous For Hire that was on the field when you special the other one has a secondary effect. These guys, the big guys, don't really work like that. They have effects when they're special summoned, not just by For Hire, but anytime they're special summoned. So Raphael's he has two. His first effect is when he is special summoned to the field, you count the number of For Hire monsters that you have on the field at the time of his summon, and however many For Hires there are, let's say you have like 3 different For Hires, you get to excavate 3 cards and then add one of them to your hand. So he's another plus. He also has an effect that if your opponent activates a monster effect, not just on the field, anyway, just any monster effect your opponent activates, you can discard a For Hire card, not just monsters. You can also discard the spells or traps and negate it. So this can stop hand traps. It can stop stuff in grave. It's really, really good. The only thing that's rough about the whole For Hire archetype is that everything with them is once per turn. So, they'd probably be pretty broken if it weren't, but I don't know. I kind of wish you could get a little more usage out of it. So that's Raphael. Like I said, another 3 of. Next one I play 3 of is Beat. No, not Beat, Bravo. Yeah, I wish I could play 6 Beat. Bravo is, he has the most attack. He has 1900 out of all the For Hire little guys. I really do like his effect, though. The plus 500 can really make a difference. This deck, besides, the big guys, and there's really only 2 that have a lot of attack that I run, which is Dinah, you'll see in a minute, and Raphael. The little guys, they just don't hit hard. So his plus 500 effect, like he's summoned to the field and then another For Hire special summoned to the field. It's also special summoned for them to get their second effects. It has to be specialed. Yeah, the plus 500, it just boosts him up. He becomes 2400. Like, that's pretty formidable. It only lasts for the turn, which is kind of rough, but it's definitely useful. I run 3 of him because this deck, you want monsters on board because, the more monsters you have on the field and in your hand, it benefits you, like if you have a bunch of monsters on the field when you summon Raphael, you get to excavate more cards so you can pick what you need. And also having them in the hand is good for negates, which is really important. So Bravo I run 3 of just because he's 1900 and gives the 500 attack boost. Okay, so Dampa. This is another one. People probably think it's kind of weird that I run 3 of him, but I really like the his ability to target face-up card on the field. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people probably only run this at 2 or even 1, but I think it's actually really valuable because it's like, you don't just have to pop monsters, like annoying field spells, like floodgates that you can't hit with like spells or traps or anything. I mean, it's like, if my opponent was playing Altergeist running Secret Village of the Spellcasters and, I wanted to run my Desires, I can get out Dompa and, use his effect to special out another for hire. And when that for hire specialed, I can get rid of their field spell like that. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of utility for it. I end up popping spells more than anything with Donpa. But also, the monster removal is really key too. Just the fact that it targets can be kind of annoying in this day and age, but I actually have other things to deal with that in this deck. So Donpa is a 3 of for me. And like I said, you can always, if you've already used them and, you don't need them and you have them in hand, you can use them as a negate, which is really, really helpful. Seal. 1600 attack. His effect is if a monster for hire is special summoned to your side of the field while he's on field, you get to add a monster for hire from the grave back to your hand. I actually really like this. I think a lot of people, again, are going to wonder why I run him at 3, but I've had a lot of success with Seal. I mean, I've had a lot of times where I didn't have any kind of restorative play, like no Monster Born, and I needed something like a Raphael or even a Dinah. I remember there was a couple times where I used Seal to get Dinah back and then brought Dinah out with the other for hires effect that had just been special summoned, and Dinah was able to banish, I was able to get rid of 2 engages out of my opponent's graveyard, and it really, really hurt them. I ended up winning that duel, actually. Seal, just, I don't know, there's a lot of utility for him, and I think people overlook it. And like I said, like, he's good to have in hand, he's good to have on field for, the big monsters effects. He's another one I run at 3. And I will tell you, I don't run all the little guys at 3. Just the ones that I've personally, from playing the deck, have, had success with. So, next is a 2 of. We got Wiz, Sage for hire. With the whole new end of match procedures, Wiz can be kind of cool because when you special summon her out, you gain 500 life points for each for hire you have on field. So, if you're ever in your main phase, like it's a cheese win, but if you're in game 3, end of time, and had to readjust there. If you're at end of time, and it's your main phase, this might not be a play that you go into. You might have like a different play, but if you hear time called, you can go about, summon out, a couple for hires, and then, or even really 1 is all you need, summon out like Donpa and then special Wiz, get the plus 500, and now when you end your main phase, like, you win because your life points are higher than your opponent's. But, that's not the only utility Wiz has. It's just something I like to throw out there. The life point boost is okay. I mean, outside of that, like, nobody really cares. Like, life points aren't really super important until you get down to the last one. So, yeah, that's that. But Wiz has a really good effect where if it's on the field, and your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can discard it for hire and negate the effect. That's really cool. Raigeki, see you later. Monster Reborn, see you later. Soul Charge, see you later. Whatever it is, being able to negate any spell or trap just off the rip, just by discarding a for hire, is it's pretty valuable. Like I said, I wish it wasn't once per turn, but unfortunately it is. But it definitely comes in clutch. That's why I run this at 2. I definitely wouldn't really want to see it at I'm trying to think, like, I remember I tried 3 initially when I had no idea what I was doing with this deck, and it was just so clunky because, 1600 attack, you're not doing much with it, and the 2800 defense comes in handy, it does, but, like, I don't really usually want to see this all the time, so I play 2. I want to see it sometimes, but not all the time. Depends. Okay, Dinah. This is one of the cards that I think people definitely sleep on. His banishing cards at a graveyard, and it's, like, not just monsters, but anything at a graveyard can be really, really helpful. there is so many graveyard effects and graveyard recursion and just things going on. The Grave's the second hand. It really is. And using Dyna to banish cards out of there can really, really hurt your opponent, especially if they're not expecting it. And I feel like a lot of people don't even run Dyna. And I just don't get it. He's a 2,500 attack beat stick, which is, pretty cool. With Bravo, he becomes 3K. Swing on a Blue Eyes, He'll lose him, but whatever. Blue Eyes are gone. Yeah, no, I definitely find utility for him. The reason I only run one is because, like I said, like, he's definitely cloggy, and if I end up going first, I mean, he's just kind of useless, because there's nothing I'm really going to do with him. He does also have another effect that monsters your opponent controls cannot target for higher you control for attacks, except him. But, I mean, it really doesn't matter, because they're getting rid of him by the battle phase anyways. I mean, that's just how it works, so I play one of him, and, like, he's searchable with beat if you ever needed him, so I'm not really worried about it. The other one I play one of is Recon. Recon can destroy a set card. It's just, it doesn't come up that much. It really doesn't. Popping set cards are cool and everything, but I mean, I'd say 90% of the time when I pop a set card, like, they just chain it. Like, it's either Scapegoat or, like, something they can chain. Like, Impermanence, they'll just chain it. And I don't know. It has come in handy, but like I said, like, I really don't need to see him that much. He's kind of just a body to either get the negates or summon out. Like, if I just have him in my hand and, like, Raphael, like, hey, I can get Raphael out and I can get a draw off it. So I play him. Helmer, another one I play one of. A lot of people probably wouldn't agree with this either. And I don't know, man, like, Helmer, I don't know. He's just really he's not doing a whole lot. Like, if a monster's for hire special summoned while he's out on the field, you can, losing focus there. You can, discard a for hire to draw. And I don't know. I'd rather keep my for hires in my hand. I mean, I guess, like, I have used his effect before, like, when I had a really kind of bricked hand. But, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't come in handy that much, realistically. He's got 2,000 events, which is cool. And like I said, he's another body, he's a discard for Wiz or Raphael. He's a banished card out of your OP's graveyard with Dyna, so I mean, he's okay to have. And like I said, like, his effect does come in handy on occasion, if I discard it for hire and draw Raigeki. I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so this is my own personal thing here. This is where it kind of, like, differs a little bit from probably what some other people are doing. Eater of Millions. This card is probably one of my favorite cards in the game. Super happy with the battles that they reprinted this in Holo, because I think it looks so badass in Holo, and I don't know, it's just it's a really, really good card. You banish 5 out of your extra deck, which can suck, but I mean, if you know what you're playing against, like, what to hold on to and what to get rid of. Sometimes you don't, but usually by the time I'm summoning out Eater, I know what I'm playing against and I know what to hold on to in my extra. And he's just so good because he's just got that non-target removal, and his effect is really permanent. He banishes face down. So unless you're using Omega or something, really kind of outlandish, like, they've lost that card now. So Eater of Millions is really good. I love him. I'm usually, like, there's very, very few times where I have him in hand and I'm not happy to see him, because usually your opponent's playing monsters, and usually they'll have something that is hard to swing over. It has some crazy protection that you can't deal with. Like Beals, for example. Like, Eater of Millions will just, see you later, banish face down. And Beals is a really difficult card to get rid of for a lot of decks. Also, like, even Diabolos, Eater of Millions, Diabolos can't be tributed and can't be targeted. Eater of Millions doesn't do either of those things, and then he's gone. So I play 2 of these because I really never mind seeing it, honestly. Okay. I don't want a lot of hand traps in this build, to be totally honest. I don't know. It's more of a going first build, I feel like. I mean, this deck kind of does play to go second, and I know that. But I don't know. I like to go first, so I don't know. Maybe it's dumb. I run 2 Veiler. just because Valor can come in clutch a lot of the time. I don't mind, if I go first and, I draw and I have a Valor in hand, like, yeah, I'm starting out with 4 cards and that can be frustrating. But I mean, if it's a decent, if I got 2 or 3 for hires in it, like, I can usually, like, do an okay opening play. And I like to have this in hand for next turn. I love shutting down my opponent's normals. I love, hitting Isold against Goki. I'm usually never upset to see Valor. I'm only upset to see Valor when I'm top decking. Like, that's usually not a good thing. But yeah, it's definitely a good card. It's not the only hand traps I have either. It's just the only ones that I run. Yeah, I hate this platinum. It looks so dumb, but it's shiny, so I like shiny cards, Yeah, I don't know. Valor just always has utility to me. I feel like against like every deck, Valor can do something against. So I like to have it. And I only play 2 in this deck, because I don't want to see it all the time. Gamma-Seal, kind of self-explanatory there. Kaiju, get rid of your opponent's stuff. That's one of. Double Called by the Grave. You need this card. Like, if you want to play this deck, you need this card because you are so reliant upon your initial normal summon. Yeah, you need it. Because if you, like, let's say you play Beat, and then, you're going to special out Seal or something like that, and your OP decides that, he's going to affect Valor, your Beat. I mean, you're sitting here with a Beat now. I mean, if you're lucky, you'd be able to get out in Eater of Millions, to have something for your opponent to deal with, besides like a 1200 attack Mossette they're going to run over. Call by the Grave is really good. The only thing that I like to say to people is, like, don't forget the Call by the Grave. When you activate its effect, it's till the end of the next turn. So, like, if I use Call by the Grave on my opponent's Effect Veiler, I can't use Effect Veiler on my next turn because that's what Call by the Grave does. It stops it for till your opponent's next turn. So, but you got to run this card. I tried playing this deck without it for a little bit, and I ended up rage quitting so much because it would just be like everything I try to do. It's just hand traps rule this game right now. Like, so you need something to combat that. Mayhem for Hire. This card is really cool. It's a monster born for hires. Yeah, you target a for hire in your grave, special summon in defense, which is kind of annoying. I like to use this on my opponent's turn more than anything, because, like, let's say you got Dompa and, like, Bravo and, like, a Raphael, and, like, you get a Seal and Grave. If I have this set, and then, my opponent's, like, in their main phase doing stuff, and I flip it up, now I can special summon Seal, and Dompa and Bravo get their effects. So I get to pop a card with Dompa, right? And then with Bravo, hits them with the attack boost, so it just it's a little bit of disruption there. If you got a recon on field too, like, you can hit one of their set cards, face up card. And so a lot of times they're just not expecting it because this deck doesn't have a whole lot of disruption. That's why I run some things in the side deck. But Mayhem for Hire, I run 2. 3, I don't know. 3 wasn't really working for me. I don't want to see this first turn. And I feel like it's not a bad card to draw into. I don't mind drawing into Mayhem, but I don't want to see it first turn. It doesn't really do much for me first turn. Okay, Double Desires. Everything that I really care about, I run 3 of. So Desires is, absolutely amazing in this deck. Desires is absolutely not a card that you can run in everything. Like, I see a lot of people run Desires and Sky Strikers, and I think that it's absolutely a bad idea. Like, the whole point of Sky Strikers is to get spells in graveyard, and I mean, if you banish 10 of them, like, Sky Strikers go through cards, okay? Like, the kind of theory with Pot of Desires is that, like, you banish 10, like, you probably weren't going to even see those 10 cards. You know what I mean? Like, very rarely in duels do you go through your entire deck. I mean, I can't even, like, really think of the last time that's happened. Unless I've activated 2 Desires in a turn. That's some reckless shit. But, if you really want to or whatever, I guess you can. I mean, I had Eater of Millions and I wanted to swing for damage, so I did. Anyways, but, Desires is definitely something that you have to like analyze the deck and look at it and be like, okay, you know, is this worth running in this deck, or is it really gonna hurt me? Um, you know, Pot of Desires, I think is absolutely like okay in this deck because I love the draws. I love that draw power. I love plussing. Plussing is how you win in Yu-Gi-Oh! Out-resourcing your opponent. So Pot of Desires, and this is something else that I run two of. You know, a lot of people think that's weird too, but it's like, I want to see this card, and then I never want to see it again. I don't want to Desires into Desires. I don't want to play Desires and then see Desires next turn or the turn after that if we get that far. I want to see it once, and that's it. I hope I banish it. I hope I banish my second copy off of my first, to be totally honest, but I've definitely won games because of Desires. Okay. So anyways, now we're going to get into, like, some serious one-ups for this deck, which is kind of funny because I'm just talking about Desires and how, like, you know, I play 3 of everything I really need in this deck, but I really do. So these one-ups are just, you know, stuff that, like, always comes in handy, and, you know, it's just kind of, like, some techie stuff. So, first, Cosmic, banish a spell. You know, depending on what deck you're playing, banishing their spell as opposed to just destroying it can be really, really beneficial. Paying 1,000 life points, like, life points don't matter, whatever. Cosmic, one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorite removals. It's funny because, like, Mythical Space Typhoon just, like, isn't a thing anymore now. And it's because of Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone. There's just so much removal now, and once we get into the extra deck, we'll see that. Scapegoat, this is solely for the extra deck. And, you know, honestly, if it really came down to it, I have used it for protection before. You know, I've had an opponent like Raigeki or Darkhold aboard, and I just have nothing going on, and, you know, like, they're gonna OTK me pretty much if I didn't activate this. It comes in handy, and then, like I said, it's for the extra deck. You know, you can go into some pretty badass plays with Scapegoat, especially if you have other, like, you go into Scapegoat, and then you go into your links, and then, you know, if you want to, like, start playing from there, you can do some pretty crazy stuff. Like, Scapegoat's definitely cool. I hope it doesn't get limited. I mean, I only play one in a lot of decks, but I hope it doesn't get limited. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those cards that probably will, because it's just a, you know, you can do degenerate stuff with it. Okay, next we got Raigeki. I could talk about this card and its effect for an hour. No, I'm just playing. But it really is an awesome card. Definitely advise putting this into, like, most decks. It's usually not a lot of times that I'm unhappy to see this. And if I draw it first turn, hey, you know what? Whatever, it's cool. Like, my next turn, if, you know, I need it, it's there. Reasoning, spicy tech for hire. No, this is absolutely amazing. You run so many, like, the fluctuation in levels of monsters in this deck is insane. You know, you play 2s, you play 1s with the Eater, up to 8, you play 7s, you play 6, so yeah, like, I don't know, it's pretty crazy. Reasoning, usually, I'd say I resolve this 9 times out of 10 because my opponent just has no. The best thing is if I get it first turn, activate Reasoning. Usually they call 4 because that is kind of the general rule of thumb. Like, 4 is usually the best number to call because, you know, it's just, you know, level 4s are pretty much like the best types of, like, you know, normal summons, special summons, like, out for monsters. So calling 4, it makes sense and I get it, but, like, I just, in this deck, you play 3s, you play 2s, you play 1s, you play 8, 7, 6s. So, like, the chance that they're gonna call yours is pretty low. Yeah, it's definitely been a great card, and, like, you can go into some really crazy plays after that, especially, like, if you get it for hire for free. So, because then it's like, you know, even if you don't have a Called by the Grave and they have, like, a hand trap, you know, like an Ash or a Veiler or something like that, like, if you get your Reasoning off and you get it for hire out, like, you can still use that for hire to special summon, and then, you know, like, if they do something like Veiler or whatever, like, okay, now you get your normal activate that effect, and, like, it's harder for them to stop. It's just a really, really good card in this deck. I definitely advise playing it. Monster Reborn, the God card. It's crazy because, I mean, this card, like, it's, I don't know. This is, like, one of my favorite cards. Like, this brings me back to when I was little. Oh, man. It's just such a good card. I love it. And I just got this rarity. I've been playing with, like, a fucking common Monster Reborn for, like, the last 6 months. And I finally, yesterday, got this one. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Gotta love it. Rhoda. This was coming in way more clutch for me when I literally only had the one beat, and like I would never see it, but I'd see Rhoda sometimes, so I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm getting my beat. But yeah, Reinforcements of the Army is really cool. It gets you to beat, and beat's pretty much like, you know, like your playmaker. Soul Charge, amazing card in this deck. It just really does what you need it to. Brings out, you know, a bunch of monsters back, and like, you know, with this deck being able to, you know, spam monsters, and all their effects, you know, being when another for hire special summoned, Soul Charge can be like absolutely crazy. Like sometimes it doesn't even matter that you don't get your battle phase, because you can just do so much damage to them with like the cards that you have on board. We get the 1-up start. Broken. Yeah. I mean, consistency, like, you want to see your cards, you want to get through your deck, right? Like, upstart, I mean, I play this in pretty much everything. Like, it just, a lot of people don't understand it either, but it's like, it's just about consistency. Like, you cut a card out. Like, sometimes I don't even care if my opponent, you know, ashes. I mean, if you ash an upstart, like, you're kind of an idiot. But I really don't even care, because it's just like, I'm thinning my deck. You know what I mean? But I would like the draw. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would like the draw. Okay, and lastly, we got this, the 1-trap, training for hire for all your training needs. In case you didn't know what this did, it, pretty cool card. So, this is usually, honestly, more of like a bait-out card than anything. What it does is, so, you activate it, and then, if a monster for hire is destroyed by battle or card effect, what you can do is special 1 out from your deck with a level lower than it. So, yeah, I mean, that's just awesome. And then, like, you know, you have the disruption, like, on your opponent's turn. Like, it's a really good card. A lot of times they'll pop this before they do anything because they're worried about it. They look at it and they're like, okay, I gotta do something about this. So that is the main deck. Now we'll get into the side and extra.